What's up, wrestling fans? I'm Steven from the Hills Maniacs, and even though we are a couple months out from the actual pay-per-view, I kind of wanted to look ahead at who I think is going to win the Money in the Bank ladder match this year. I feel like the last couple years, the men's Money in the Bank winner hasn't really been that exciting or gone on to do anything exciting. Austin Theory didn't even really get to cash it in on the world title, so that was kind of a waste. He tried it on the United States Championship and all that stuff. Damian Priest held onto the title for a while, and everyone was complaining about him being the Money in the Bank winner. So I kind of wanted to go down through the roster and pick out who I think should win. So here are my picks for 5 WWE superstars that should win the men's Money in the Bank ladder match in 2024. So first up would be Chad Gable. I really love the work that he's been doing lately. He was a really good tag team star, and then he did really good in this feud with Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. So he has shown that he can do really well with being a single star, and I think giving him the Money in the Bank briefcase would propel him up into that world title status, and I think even though normally it's better if, in my opinion, if a heel holds the championship because they can do those heel shenanigans and attack the person ahead of time and cash in. Every now and then when we get a baby face that does win, and they win it honorably, or at least they come out and cash in, it's still memorable and it still gets a reaction from the fans. Like think about Dolph Ziggler and that kind of thing. When he first cashed in on Alberto Del Rio, everyone still remembers that, everyone still talks about that as one of the greatest cash-ins of all time. That's one that comes to my mind when I think of a baby face that cashed in and everyone was like, oh my goodness, So Chad Gable being that next baby face to actually win the briefcase, because we've seen a lot of heels win it lately. So Chad Gable winning it, I think would not only be a surprise when he does cash it in, but I think it could lead to a really incredible hero's journey type thing, because he has yet to really challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I think seeing him win the Money in the Bank briefcase and then hold it for a few months and then finally cash in on on Damian Priest or somebody, whoever is a heel champion, and Chad Gable taking it from them, even if he did it honorably like John Cena did and cash it in ahead of time and tell the person he's cashing it in, I still feel like that would be executed really well. And I think Chad Gable would be the perfect babyface to give that opportunity to and really elevate him as a star, elevate his singles status while also keep him as a tag team or whatever. He could still be in Alpha Academy or go his own way at that point. Or you even turn him heel, which I thought they were going to do with Sami Zayn and Gunther at WrestleMania. I thought Chad Gable was going to turn on Sami or whatever. I think he could still work as a heel as well. Maybe it's just kind of that he doesn't want to be a heel. He doesn't want to do these bad things, but because he's Money in the Bank winner, he's desperate to win a championship, and then he can cash it in and win. I think Chad Gable could use any of those stories and really roll with it and be the perfect person to hold the Money in the Bank briefcase, whether it's for an extended period of time or short amount of time, whatever. I think he'd be really good as one of those guys that could be a really memorable winner that everyone looks back on yes, this was the guy, this was the perfect person to hold the Money in the Bank briefcase, because either direction you go with him, I think it could work. So I think that would work really well for his character, for the type of wrestler that he is, and that kind of thing. I think Chad Gable would be perfect for the Money in the Bank winner. Next up is Gunther. Obviously, he lost his Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania after becoming the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. He had an incredible reign as Intercontinental Champion, and I feel like any title that he has, he just elevates it. Even if he's not the world champion, I feel like he brings something to that championship. So to see him win the Money in the Bank briefcase, I think not only would elevate him and the kind of superstar that he is, but also elevate the Money in the Bank briefcase again, because now you have that threat on the roster. He could literally cash in on anybody, and it would be realistic that he would actually beat that person because of how tough he is. He would be that threatening heel that carries that briefcase, and you never know when he's going to cash in. And because he's always on TV too, you might be expecting it, every single week. Like, is Gunter going to cash in tonight? Like, he could just do it at any time. And I feel like that's what the Money in the Bank has been lacking lately, at least in the men's side of things, because he's already like a threat to the roster, just with his presence and everything. Like, everyone's kind of afraid to fight him. Nobody could beat him for the Intercontinental Championship for the longest time. So him holding that Money in the Bank briefcase would be like, uh-oh, well, now he's going to come and take my championship. Like, I better be careful. I don't want to have a run-in with Gunther in the back or anything, or get on his bad side because he might cash in on me, or something along those lines. And he is one of those threatening villain characters that would play really well with the Money in the Bank briefcase at his disposal. Up next is LA Knight. I think him winning the Money in the Bank briefcase would bring him up into that World Championship level status, which he was kind of in when he fought Roman Reigns, and then they kind of brought him back down after that. And he had this feud with AJ Styles at WrestleMania and that kind of thing. Before that, he feuded with like Bray Wyatt. The year before that, going into WrestleMania and that sort of stuff, and he didn't really do anything at last year's WrestleMania, from what I can remember. So to have him win the Money in the Bank, I can't remember if he was in last year's or not, but if he was, I think he should have won it last year, because he seems like that superstar. He's got a lot of charisma and that kind of stuff, and he seems like the type of guy that could build the company around eventually. He's got talking on the mic down pat and that kind of stuff. He seems like the next Stone Cold almost, or The Rock, at least the way he speaks on the mic and everything. I feel like he's got the total package where they should strap the World Championship on him. And I think to get him there, the perfect way to do that would be start him with the Money in the Bank briefcase, because he can play that heel character or the babyface, which we've seen him do both so far. I mean, he was Max Dupree as a heel. He's been LA Knight the whole time as a babyface pretty much. But we do know that he can do both, so like, it could go either way. It could cash in on a babyface champion, a heel champion, whatever, and I think it would still work really well, and we would maybe never expect when he's going to do it, and he could just come out here and keep talking about that he's going to do it or whatever, and teasing it, and then not do it week after week or whatever. I feel like that's the perfect way to start him off on a potential World Championship run, and then go from there and have him win the championship. Next up, this one was kind of an interesting one when I really sat down and thought about it. I went with Karrion Kross. I kind of like this new character he's got going, where he's in this faction, the Final Testament with the Authors of Pain and stuff. So I think to have him win the Money in the Bank briefcase, just like I said with Gunther, he would seem like that threat that could come out of nowhere and attack anybody and win that championship, and especially with the Authors of Pain at his side, like he could honestly beat anybody, and I think that would really propel him to that mega heel level character that I know he can be. They just haven't really given him that opportunity to do that. Like, even in Impact Wrestling, he came off as this threatening person. They had him attacking people backstage and everything, from what I can remember all those years ago, and then eventually didn't really do anything with him. He just became like a side character in someone else's story. So I kind of like that they're giving him this new faction and this new gimmick to make him seem more intimidating. And I feel like with him walking around with the briefcase, he could just pop up on Raw at a random moment by himself and just hold it in the champion's face or whatever. And they would know, like, okay, this guy's a threat. Like, I better hold on to my championship or watch my back or whatever. I think that would be perfect for the new gimmick that he's got going on, as this intimidating figure. And finally, I have main event Jey Uso. I just think it's time to give him a world championship. And I guess, like I said with LA Knight too, I think they should maybe give him the Money in the Bank briefcase. I just think he could make it work, I guess. Like, just coming out with it every week. The fans love him and that kind of stuff. So to see him cash it in on whoever and win the world championship, whether they turn him back to a heel or keep him as a babyface, I think that would make a huge impact, and people would still remember that one. I don't know how long of a run I could see him having with the World Championship, but I think he is ready based off what we've seen from his singles run over the last however many months since he split off of Jimmy, split from his tag team with the Usos and that kind of stuff. And I just think, maybe that would be the perfect way to get him into the world title picture is to give him the Money in the Bank briefcase. But there you go, guys. Those were my picks for 5 WWE men superstars that I think should win the Money in the Bank in 2024. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. Who would you choose to win? Obviously, I recorded this long before they even made any announcements about who's going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder matches, so this isn't necessarily my prediction for the pay-per-view itself or for the actual ladder match, but these are just people that I felt should win this year or WWE should give the briefcase to. So let me know all your thoughts, who would you pick, and that sort of thing down in the comments section. Also be sure to like this video and subscribe for more, and check out all the other WWE and just wrestling content we've uploaded in the past on this channel. Check out all that if you're a wrestling fan. Thank you for watching the video, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.